Wanted to take a brief moment and talk about a very common question I get with my students, as well as on the seminar circuit. I get this frequently as well. Kata repetition. Why is the same move done several different times during the course of the kata? And frequently we see repetitions of three. So there'll be three hand motions, three steps, or something like that over in the kata. So you're doing it left, left, or right, left, right. Well, my original impression was you're just getting repetitions in. A long time ago, Taika was talking at a seminar and discussed this, and that kind of opened my eyes, so I want to share that. And it's that if there's three motions, most likely they're not identical. And they probably shouldn't be identical according to Taika Seiyu Oyata. This really kind of opened my eyes in looking at that. So I'm going to give a few examples of where I originally thought that we were just doing a repeated motion, and Taika opened my eyes to the fact that they're really not exactly the same, and they're teaching you different ways to go about similar motions, different ways to utilize a similar motion. Frequently, the differences are mainly in the stances, but there can be some slight variations in the hand motions as well. Naihanchi, Nidon, or Teki in those lineages. So we end up in this position at the very beginning of the kata. We're in this position and we're going off to our right. And then shortly thereafter, we're in this position again, coming from the right. Two positions, snapshot in time here, snapshot in time here. They look the same. Are they the same deal? Very first one starts from this position, comes up, over, and out, dropping back down. Okay, so the start is here. The other one, when we end up this way, same snapshot, but we're coming from an entirely different motion. So this motion is sideways, like a carriage return on a typewriter for all of us old folks. That motion's going sideways. Beginning motion is coming up and on top of something, whereas this motion is more of a dragging motion across. One example is Tamari Seisan. In Tamari Seisan, our hand motions are typically inside, out, punch, and back. And depending on what style that you train in, all three of those motions may be timed the same, may be exact hand positions, with the one mirrored from the other two. In Taika's version, the first one starts with the hands down. We do a clockwise windmill to single with the kake motion. There's an immediate punch and return. On the second one, your hands are already up, so you're not coming with the full left-right windmill. The second one, you're already here. So your hands are in a up kind of defensive posture, and you're doing a single motion. There's actually a pause, a kind of drop back fist, punch, and return. So these ending two postures right here, the two snapshots, are the same, but everything else there is different. So what about the first and the third? First and the third, you end up in this ending posture. Well, the first one, you're starting down here, full windmill. On the third one, you're starting from that kind of defensive posture with your hands up again, going across in doing that motion. So the first and third that a lot of people think are the same, or all three of them that everybody thinks are the same, all three of those are slightly different in hand positions. What about the legs? So got my little dot here at Seisan. When I'm here, this first footwork motion is what Taika would call a half step. And by that I mean I am only taking that one half step. Only my right foot is moving, although my left foot drags a little bit, correct? But I'm only moving roughly about 2.5 feet, depending on your height, to get that first motion. Well, the second motion, and we've already kind of established that I'm going from down to 2 full windmills for the first motion. The second one, I'm already in a defensive posture. So for that second motion, my right foot is forward, left foot is back. I've already stepped out and been in this position. Now, my back foot, when I do my C step, come in and go forward, and even with a little bit of a drag there, I'm going twice the distance. So it's a full step. It's going twice the distance. I'm not here taking a half step. I'm here taking a full step. All right, so I'm already in that defensive posture. Heels come in, and I take a full step. And again, on the third one, I am taking a full step as well. So you see all three of those opening Tamari Seisan motions are different. Continue with Tamari Seisan. We have three of these motions where we come up and do this. All three of those are slightly different. The very first one starts as a turnaround motion. So we have just come up covered, dropped into our temporary cat stance, both forearms, both legs rotate. So we're starting up here and out here and coming up. Well, that's a 180-degree turn, and we're not pinned here, and this hand is in a completely different position than the next two. Though this kind of ending position is the same, where we stop and pause here, that's the same. But we did a temporary cat to get us into that position for the first repetition of the three. The next one, we're doing that same motion and we're taking a full step forward. So there is no turn in that repetition. And then the third one comes up and it's very similar to the second one, but we're going to do a different follow-up. Let's talk about that follow-up a little bit. So that follow-up, very basic version that we do is single, land, kake, punch, shuffle, kake, punch, kake, punch. It does this twice. It does it left and right, what a lot of people consider mirrored. Is it truly mirrored though? You got to take into context what is happening during the motion. I'm turning 90 degrees in doing my motion, and now I'm covering the groin, turning 180 degrees. So slightly different motion there. I'm here, I'm having to come up to a line to get into a temporary cat stance and turn 90 degrees. Kake, punch, kake, punch, punch. I'm having to now turn 180 degrees. I'm covering my groin, kake, single, kake, punch, kake, punch, kake, punch, and then turn. So even though those two motions look, when you just take the legs out of it, it looks like you're going single, punch, 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 single, punch, punch, punch. Looks like they're mirrored, but there's a couple of little differences in the way those are mirrored. Here's an example out of Pinon. In a Pinon kata, we're here, we turn and we go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we have 4 motions. Are they identical? If you look at this, I'm in this motion. I'm going to cover my face and do a 225 degree turn. So I do a 225 degree turn, and then I do a straight line. Now I do a 90 degrees, and I do a straight line. So those 4, if you just take them without the legs, they look like they're just mirrors. I do a left, right sweep, a right, and a left sweep. But the footwork is very, very important as to how those are differences. And so a difference may mean that I'm doing attack from the inside of one arm or the outside of one arm. Or it may be they're coming up from behind or from the side. Cover face, capture. The next one's a straight attack. All right? So maybe I'm coming up the middle. Maybe this one is I've come on the inside from a rather large turnaround, and the next one is proceeding forward more midline of the body. Or it could be from the outside. Angles are very important and kind of a little bit deceptive when you're looking at a kata kind of abstract without an opponent. The end of Pasai has these motions. Are they the same? So right foot comes forward off at a 45 degree angle, and then we're going to go 45 this way. But the turn is different. So they're both 45s. First one, my body is turning 45. Second one, my body is turning 90 degrees. So 45 left, then I'm turning 90 to the right, then I'm correcting back 45 straight. So the 3 are similar snapshots in time, Polaroid motion, but the footwork is making them into different full body motions. Pinon or Heian Shodan, if you look at this snapshot here, I'm in this position doing all this here, and I'm doing that. I'm on this side doing that. And the same with Yondon or Yondon, depending on the versions you're doing of them. Are they the same? Well, footwork, body work says no. First one on both of those, Shodan and Yondon, starts with the hands down. Your hands are in this down position and you're coming up, doing your cross, or you're coming up for Yondon. Now, both of those, for the second one, instead of turning left 90 from a down hand position, we are in a up hand position, and we're turning 180 instead of the 90. So we turn 90 left, 180 degrees right. Difference. 90 left, 180 right. 90 left from a hands down position, hands up position, 180 to the right. So continuing on a little bit with the penons, in some of them you end or start a grouping with one hand motion here, and you can see this in some of the other katas as well. I am in a back or cat stance, depending on what you are doing, what version you are doing of it. The next motion comes from a narrow cat stance to a wide forward stance. So it's almost more like, instead of a full move of my foot, I'm doing about 3/4 because the stance is shallower. So, and my heel, because I'm already bladed because if it's a back or a cat stance, my heel can't come in as far as if I'm doing a standard C-step motion. So first motion's here. If I bring that heel in, I trip myself. So I've got to do different footwork for this first one to get me into my forward stance. And I'm doing a little bit of switch step here so that my feet don't run off of the screen. Now the next two look the same, just mirrored. So are they 100%? All right, so we were in our right back stance or cat stance, and we did our forward stance, and we're here. The next one is here, and then we do something different depending on the kata, right? So they're not all exactly alike. Another example in Pinan Shodan, I already talked about these four, but we turn and we do this kind of wrapping motion. So we're here, windmill wrap, heel drops, kicks, kake punch, windmill wrap, heel drops, kick, punch. So those two look like they're just mirrored. But again, where did they come from? Where did they go? I'm here, I turn 45 degrees to the straight line. So I'm here, 45 degrees with a clockwise windmill, wrap, drop, kick. This one is a straight motion with a wrap, drop, kick. So one of them starts here, covers, clockwise wrap, drop, kick, punch. The other one, so this one's starting left hand up, open, right hand here. The other one is starting left out, this one in standard Oyata Hikate, pull back to the ribs. So we're starting from a completely different position and we're going straight versus turning 45 degrees. Pinan Nidan actually starts with two very similar motions. One goes to the left, one goes to the right. How similar, how different are they? It's a down, around, and punch motion. Very first one starts both hands down. You go into a horse or side stance, arms matching femur, come around, heel drop, come in and punch. So that starting motion for that whole sequence was here with my hands down in that motion. Now, when I go 90 left, I end up here. Now I'm going to turn and I'm going to drop down to the right. So I'm having to turn. I'm staying acclimated forward, turning 90. In the second one, I'm turning 90 to get acclimated forward, and then turning a second 90 before I go. So slight variances, one starting here, hands down. The other is starting here with hands up. Continue on, peen on, kneed on motions. So I'm here towards the beginning of the kata, my hand is down, and I'm going to do 3 steps with 3 punches. Are they exactly the same? No. First one starts, hand down, back here at the ribs. I am pressing forward, covering, and doing my first punch. Now the second punch is coming from the right side in, third is coming from the left side. All 3 of those are slightly different. So even if, like, the last 2 are starting from the hand up and out position, Taika would add small variables into that. So what do I mean by that? So we're here, very first one starts hand down and at ribs. I'm coming here, doing my first motion. Second one, maybe he goes, since the next 2 are going to be the same, starting with this hand here, I'm going to go here and maybe do a milk that way to here. Now this time, as he would do them, instead of doing the exact mirror, he might change that milk to more of a down back fist kind of milk motion. Another peen-on motion looks similar. We do 4 of these motions. All right, so how did we get there? So we ended with a punch, covered, and came down. So if you look at that from this perspective, I'm here, I'm gonna turn 225 degrees. I'm gonna cover face and drop down. So my hand starting position was here and ended up here. Here, here. In this position, 225, down. Straight for the next one. Now I'm gonna, again, go at a 90 degree. And so all of those positions are just slightly different in what we're doing with the bottom body. Bottom controls top, top controls bottom, and that is changing the timing. So my hands from the start position are going a much further distance, almost like a throw distance, but I'm coming much further. Now my path is pretty short for that next one. Then I've got 90 degrees to go, and I should be thinking about covering my body. You saw me as I turned the 225, I'm covering my body. I'm not just, like, I was very unhappy if people, all this exposed as I'm turning, right? So I'm cover, down. Very different than this next motion. Cover, I'm turning my body. See, I'm covering my body and down. Very different each one of those. Peen-on, Sandong. Yeah. Do a single, drop, double, double. Go to the other side, single, drop, double, double. At least in the version that we're doing from Oyata's lineage. What's the difference? All right, so I'm standing here, minding my own business. Both hands are down. I turn. I'm turning to a new area. I've got to cover my body. I'm covering the body. Kake, single, drop, double, double. I'm turning 180 degrees. I'm still covering the body, But the difference is in the footwork, the body work. I'm having to turn 180 degrees. I'm having to do stuff a little bit different. Again, heel drop, back up, boom, boom. So slight variations, turning 90 left, 180 degrees right, changes the timing of your body covers as you go. I've got half the time to cover as I do from here, right? I'm going twice the difference, twice the distance from this side to this side. Half turn, full turn. Changes your timing. Small snippet from Pinon Yondan. So this is our motion, kind of like Seisan, but we're here, coming up to here, here, and then we do that motion. All right, so obviously what is different? Both hands down. I'm in a forward stance, both hands down. And this bottom hand has to do a windmill to get to the kake position. So I'm here, both hands down. Here, both hands are now up, heels and forearms. I don't have to do a full windmill. So those windmills are all over the place in kata. Sometimes, if your hands are down, it makes sense to do a windmill. If your hand's up, a short, quick kake is in order. So again, here, this bottom hand has to come out into that windmill to get the kake. Now, I just rotate forearms and legs and do the quick kake. So, snapshot in time, this and this look the same, but the in-betweens, how we got there, are completely different. So continuing on with Pinon Yondan, we ended here, come up, and we do two identical motions, right? We go here and here. Yeah, you figured out by now they're not identical. So I am here, dropping temporary cat. I have to turn 180 degrees, covering body, and do that motion, right? I'm doing that 180 degrees. Right hand, what will become the backhand, has quite a ways to travel during the course of that, right? I'm here, it's going all the way across, catching into that position. Now, it's only traveling about half the distance, right? So it goes completely across the body and pulls back. This time, it only pulls back. Cross, all the way across, pull back. This time, it's only a small little move. Here to here versus here. Pinon Godan, beginning of it, slight differences. I'm in my ready stance, feet shoulder width apart, heels coming out, pivoting, covering body. So I'm going from here to get my kake, punch across. So now how is this side different? I don't return and put my hands down. I'm starting feet together, this hand's already out. So where this hand that's coming for the kake went from down low to shoulder height to get my kake, I am now in this position, it's already halfway there. It's already halfway to that kake. All right, I'm here, quick kake motion. So this motion, snapshot in time, this motion, snapshot in time, look exactly mirrored. But how did we get there? What is the difference? What is the distance each arm is traveling? Continuing with Pinan Godan, we end that forward stretch. Right hand is out. We're gonna drop to our motorcycle grip, kind of monkey bar, kind of hand position, kick, punch, punch. How similar, how different are they? We're here, we're going to turn 225 degrees and drop that right hand down. So it's going across our body. Bad habit, Taika would say, I didn't cover my body during the whole portion of that if I'm just thinking about going down for that cross. If I'm here and I'm turning around, getting into the hourglass, drifting, I'm covering my face and dropping down as I turn 225 degrees. Very important, anytime you're turning, you're covering your body in Oyata's art. So I'm here, I'm coming and then dropping, opening up to my monkey bars on the motorcycle, heel drop, kick, left, right. Now, the far hand only is having to go 90 degrees before I drop. So this hand originally covers face. I'm turning 225 to drop. Then it's 90 degrees drop, and so on. So slight variations.